an expensively bought horse. He did no more than you could have expected, so no less than you could have expected from Maiden Royal. He did everything that was asked of him. I think he was second favourite for the champion bumper after that, but he didn't get there, and they decided to just take their time with him and bring him here and start off his hurdling campaign now at this time of year. So he's a very, very likeable individual, and if he jumps hurdles, he could be a very exciting hurdler this season.
Let's have a look at Eden Flight. If we just drop back to our left here, I think he's on his way round. Willie Mullins representative, just on the other side of the parade, number 6, Eden Flight. Ruby, just tell us a bit more about this horse. He's only had the one run in France. It was over 2 years ago now. How much of that is down to giving the horse a bit of time, and how much did he, I presume, had a little setback?
No, he didn't. No, a little bit was time, and then obviously the very dry winter we had last year. It was 2 years ago since he won. He's a great pretender gelding. He's a super jumper, but because of the dry year we had last year, we're slightly guessing with this year's novice hurdlers. We didn't maybe get to look under the bonnet as much as you would have liked last year. So this fella does everything he's been asked to do at home. He's in the same boat as Bicardi's and the horse that ran yesterday. As regards fitness, schooling has been eye-catching though. And he's a nice individual. How good he is, or even how bad he is, Gary, we don't know.
And given, as you say there, he's, on what you've seen, a very good jumper, do you think Paul will be trying to make use of that and ride him handy?
I'd be surprised if Paul was out of the first 4 or 5. Well, I'm not partial to the instructions, but they're usually the same in a maiden hurdle, so he'll be in the first 3 or 4 anyway.
He's an interesting one, Don, without question, and the fact that obviously the horse was just being given a bit of time more so, especially with the ground the way it was last season, is, I don't think, much of a negative, is it?
No, it's a positive. Definitely hear Ruby saying that nothing really wrong. He's just been given his time, and to bring him here, he's been strong in the market this morning as well. So yeah, it's fascinating this to see. In Cobbler's Way as well, the kind of unknown and the potential that these horses have. It's just a fascinating time of year for me.
Yeah, we'll just show you Cobbler's Way actually. If we drop back to the Jigginstown colours here, the maroon and white Henry de Bromhead, just having a last minute chat with Rachel Blackmore. Massive big horse by Oscar, this fella Ruby. Won a bumper at Limerick at the Christmas meeting down there, and well, you can see why he's been given a bit of time since then. He's huge, isn't he?
He is, but I think you're going to see that with a lot of horses this year, Gary. There's the World of Horse that people didn't get to run last year because of the unusually quick ground, and I'd say a lot of horses were given a bit of time. And just one going through the shot there, my father's number 12, Royal Rev. He's a huge big horse as well, but Gordon's horse beat or Henry's even beat Letector in a bumper in Limerick, and his point of point form, I don't know any of the horses that were in his point of point. I haven't heard of them since.
Okay, so the runners making their way down to the start for this PS Supplies Doors and Floors Maiden hurdle. Andy Dufresne putting his big reputation on the line. Gordon Elliott looking for his first winner after that, his second winner I should say, after that disappointing run from Apple's Jade. Abracadabra so impressive earlier on. I think we might be able to go back to Mark just for a market update.
Well, Andy Dufresne just touched odds on when we went to join the guys in the paddock, and he's just a little bit shorter now. 9 to 10 in from even money, Andy Dufresne. 3 to 1 Eden Flight. 9 to 2 in from 11 to 2 for Cobbler's Way. Really big, strong gelded son of Oscar. 12 to 1 Soldiers Hill. 16 to 1 Bar Those. So there is just a bit of opposition now to this favourites coming from the Henry de Bromhead train Cobbler's Way.
Dempsey straight.
Best turn out, for what it's worth, has gone to number 15, Fighting Fit, trained by Philip Dempsey. Slippers Maiden riding, not one that was figuring anywhere near the top of the market, though Andy Dufresne, as Mark was saying, a shade of odds on. And we had a look at the 3 principals there. Don, there's plenty of other horses in this who've either already won or shown themselves to be capable of winning races further down the line. That's the beauty, I guess, of these races at this time of the year. They're well worth watching back a couple of times if possible, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's as we were just discussing earlier off air. It's a fascinating time of year. All these bumper horses going novice hurdling, hurdlers from last year going novice chasing. They're the interesting ones for me, especially at this time of the season. And they're all about potential now. And the 3 at the top of the market here, none of them have jumped to hurdle in public yet. It's obviously a positive that Ruby's talking about how well Willie Mullins' horse Eden Flight does jump at home, but to see him and the other 2 in open competition and see how they jump at racing pace, it's just going to be fascinating, and that's going to be a big determinant in how this race pans out.
So that was Eden Flight, just having a look at the section of hurdle there on the infield ahead of the action here. Anything we haven't mentioned, Ruby, that you could see maybe getting in amongst the big three here, according to the market? It's pretty big prices, Bar.
There's 7 bumper winners in here, Gary. I mean, Charles Burns' Alpine Cobra, Cobbler's Way we mentioned, Andy Dufresne we mentioned, Eden Flight won a French National Hunt bumper, Gun Merchant even of Gardens, who's won probably a bit further back, Impatient Partner. There's plenty of bumper winners in here that will all win races when they over hurdles at some stage throughout the season. So, as you've both alluded to, when the race is over, have a good look back at those in behind.
Right then, they're about to make the way out onto the track. Top 2 in the betting. Unsurprisingly, Ruby, look as though they're going to be near the front rank.
I'd say most of the ones that are towards the 4 in the betting are in the front rank here. Eden Light on the right of your screen, Andy Dufresne in the middle, and the first of JP McManus' colours, Davy Russell, good and prominent next to him on the one of Soldiers Hill, and Rachel there in the Jigginstown colours, Cobbler's Way. They're all front rank, and I'd imagine they'll be to the 4 most of the way, and these will be well strung out. There'll be, as much as we're going to talk about, there'll be a couple of nice horses in here. There'll be plenty in here that you won't want to own too.
Okay, we are just gone past the scheduled off time here for our 4th of the afternoon. Promises to be an interesting contest. Let's see how things develop in the company of Jerry Hammond.
Up to the tape. They're off, and the PS supplies doors and floors Maiden over 2.5 miles, heading down the back straight to the first of 11 flights. Andy Dufresne prominent with Eden Flight on the inside, closely attended by Cobbler's Way to the outside, 2 for the road as they jump flight number 1. All safely over as Eden Flight and Andy Dufresne show in front of Cobbler's Way, and they're followed by Cool Robin, with after them Soldiers Hill. On the outside is Lee Mella, and then comes Gun Merchant. They're being followed by 2 for the road and Alpine Cobra in between horses. Tracking them is Golden Nomad. Chief of Police is next as Andy Dufresne just edges ahead of Eden Flight, within 3rd Cobbler's Way, 4th is Cool Robin, and then comes Lee Mella. On the inside in the red cap, Soldiers Hill, and then Impatient Partner, Chief of Police, Alpine Cobra and Gun Merchant, 2 for the road and Golden Nomad. High Street Fashion is next, and then Mal the Mare, and on the inside Memory of Youth, with towards the rear Smig Sus, Fighting Fifth and Royal Rev. As they reach the 2nd flight, 3 in the straight coming up, and little to choose between Andy Dufresne, white cap on the outside of Eden Flight, a couple of lengths back to Cobbler's Way, just 3rd from Cool Robin, and then comes Lee Mella, starred cap of Impatient Partner, and then Soldiers Hill, Gun Merchant following Stable Companion, then Chief of Police and Alpine Cobra and Golden Nomad and Memory of Youth, as they come now to jump the 4th flight, taking them to the stands with a circle to go. Andy Dufresne just moves on a length in front, the 9 to 10 favourite to draw first time over hurdles, has shifted 2.5 to 3 lengths clear now from Cobbler's Way, with Eden Flight shuffled back to 3rd, then Cool Robin with Impatient Partner, Soldiers Hill, Chief of Police, Gun Merchant, Golden Nomad next with Lee Mella, 2 for the road and Alpine Cobra and Memory of Youth, and then High Street Fashion. Racing to the halfway stage, and flight number 5, Andy Dufresne, and Mark Walsh in the lead as Cobbler's Way picks up the 2nd, under Rachel Blackmore and Eden Flight, and upward jump in 3rd, Paul Townend, and then comes Cool Robin with Impatient Partner, Chief of Police, Soldiers Hill, Gun Merchant, Golden Nomad, Memory of Youth, Alpine Cobra next with High Street Fashion, and then Lee Mella, and Smig Sus on the inside of Fighting Fit, the red cap, and then 2 for the road who's dropped away. Final couple are Royal Rev and Mal the Mare. Racing to the first of 3 flights in the back straight, 9 furlongs to go. Andy Dufresne, Mark Walsh, 2 in front of Cobbler's Way, Rachel Blackmore and Eden Flight. Paul Townend in third, and fourth is Impatient Partner and Batty Geraghty. Followed with a mile to go by Cool Robin and Danny Mullins. Chief of Police next with Soldiers Hill. Golden Nomad is on the outside of Gun Merchant as they jump the flight. At their point of departure, Andy Dufresne, 2.5 lengths up on Eden Flight, who's disputing the second with Cobbler's Way. Then Impatient Partner as they pass the 7 pole. Chief of Police next with Cool Robin and Golden Nomad in between Alpine Cobra and Soldiers Hill. After them is Gun Merchant. Last flight in the back straight. And Andy Dufresne, jumping cleverly at his hurdles, is followed by Eden Flight, and then Cobbler's Way, Impatient Partner, Chief of Police, and then Cool Robin. Alpine Cobra is making some headway, and then Golden Nomad, Soldiers Hill and Gun Merchant. Pushed along behind these is Fighting Fifth, and then comes Memory of Youth and Royal Rev. 5 furlongs to go. They're homeward bound with 3 to jump, and the PS supplies Doors and Floors Maiden. And in the lead is Andy Dufresne, being followed by Chief of Police, who's come out of the pack to go up on the outside of Cobbler's Way. These 3 covered by less than 2 lengths. Impatient Partner nudged along in fourth, and then Alpine Cobra. Cool Robin is next with Golden Nomad and Gun Merchant. Eden Flight is dropped right out of contention, and then Soldiers Hill in line for the final 3, and it's Andy Dufresne. At the flight, the top of the track, a good jump. Cobbler's Way moves second in pursuit, and then Chief of Police, followed down towards the second last by Alpine Cobra, who's wound up. Golden Nomad next. Impatient Partner is given best. At the second last, it's Andy Dufresne, the leader. From Cobbler's Way, the pair have gone clear from Chief of Police and Alpine Cobra, but with 1 flight left to jump, it's the favourite Andy Dufresne. Coming to the final flight in the hands of Mark Walsh, and jumped it like a professional did Andy Dufresne, racing up the hill and saw the final 200 yards, and the PS supplies Doors and Floors Maiden. Andy Dufresne. Gordon Elliott has a mountain of novice talent at his disposal as Andy Dufresne endorses his tall reputation. Second and beaten 8-10 lengths Cobbler's Way, then Alpine Cobra, Gun Merchant next.
Well, he could scarcely have done much more, could he? Andy Dufresne retains his unbeaten record with fabulous display really here on his hurdles debut. Jumped like an old pro, bar maybe one slight mistake on the way away from the stands. Mark Walsh, I'm sure, really enjoyed that, and Jerry alluded to it there in commentary, Ruby. It's almost a conveyor belt to these good novices. Gordon Elliott is churning out. We saw Abracadabra strut his stuff earlier on. Of course, Malone Road and Voy Allen last week. And this fella, where do you think this fella fits in?
I don't know, Gary, but this guy was really visually very impressive. And watch his ears all the way down the straight. His right ear as we were looking, which is actually the horse's left, or his near side ear, is half cocked all the way down the straight. There's loads under the bonnet for this horse. His jumping was, I thought, brilliant for a first timer all the way, and he couldn't have been more impressive. And even after the race, you saw Mark Walsh wheeling him around to the right to physically pull him up. He didn't stop himself. There's loads to like about this, loads.
Your horse was eased right off by Paul Townend. Not his day today. Do you think he's definitely better than we saw there?
I'm hoping he is. Can't give you an excuse right now till we talk to Paul, but we're hoping he is. Cobbler's Way has run a really good race in second, and Chief of Police, who's a dead maiden, will be receiving £8 from these horses at a country track. He's one to put into your notebook. He ran a good race too.
What did you make of all that, Don? You couldn't fail to be impressed with the winner.
That was as good. Like, it was better than you could have expected, really, Gary. He didn't miss a beat. His jumping was superb. Like, really, every single flight. Maybe he could win in close to one of them, but every single flight bar that, he was very, very good. He just eyed it up. He was maybe a little keen early on, but Mark Walsh just allowed him stride on in front, and he just settled lovely in front. Every flight he came to, he just 1, 2, up he came. He had loads of